maybe we'll do it with this backdrop right here.
Yeah, sure.
And if you look right here, when they say, the demands for ridership, you have empty parking lots. Go, just check out any one of these parking lots in the area. There's not always that expectation that the train station, on a commuter rail is right beside you. I think there is some sort of, reasonable expectation that you might have to drive towards the commuter rail, because that's what, at the end of the day, what makes the commuter rail attractive. It's not the light rail, because if you did a light rail green line, it'd take you, slow boat into Boston, it would take you 2 hours, and that's not efficient. That's not what people are looking for. People are looking for that under an hour commute. When you live this close to Boston, we're 25 miles from Boston, shouldn't be an hour and a half on the train. And I think another thing that I didn't mention is they've brought up how many of their rail cars there was a story in the front page of the Herald about a year and a half ago. I think the train actually broke down when T officials were on it, about how they have to buy new rail cars, because it was, they were 1990 Kawasaki's, they useful life of any building or any vehicle of any sort has a certain shelf life, and that they were at the end of what they could get out of them. So here again, then why are you expanding a train line when you have an obligation to the ridership that has an expectation that they might get there in some sort of comfort, and that they might get there at all?
They won't be using new cars?
They say that at some point they have to purchase new rail cars.
Right.
So once again, why are you building more lines to put more rail cars on when the rail cars that you have on the lines that you have are deficient? By your own words.
Have you spoken to anyone from Miracle Connell?
No.
Understand? No?
Well, I'd have to say, we did. We had a meeting with them where we were pressuring, this is myself and the delegation up in my office in the State House, we were pressuring them on, who paid for this study? Follow the money. Who paid for this study, and what was the purpose of it? And they said, well, we did. We did it because we thought it would be good for our law firm. And, I hate to say it, but I didn't quite think that was the entire story.
Right.
I thought there was some more to it, whether it be, the Kraft Group, whether it be somebody else, or the 495 West Partnership. And where did your money come from? Is it from corporations? Is it from EMC Corp? Is it from the Kraft Group? Is it from, where is the money coming from? Again, as I say, when you're influenced to the extent that you are public policy, I would prefer that you be a public policy person, i.e., you're working for the T. Have somebody take ownership who works in the public sector, who can go to these homeowners and explain what this greater good is, what the impact is going to be on them, and why they should sacrifice their quality of life for that. And at this point, many of those questions are unanswered, and the answers that we've come up with aren't sufficient.
So they haven't given you any indication as to why they did this?
That was the answer. That was the answer, that Miracle Connell paid for the study, and that there were a lot of companies that entered into this 495 West Partnership. 495 West Partnership was always an entity. Now, they didn't invite the Walpole delegation to their first meeting.
Yeah.
We found out about it through Dan Winslow's office, Representative Winslow's office. They were the ones who found out that this meeting was happening. So they had invited Foxborough representation, but not the senator from Walpole and Foxborough.
Right.
So, there was. I think the more that we take a look at this, the more that it's just public policy gone amok.
So what's the next step in getting
stopping this train?
Yeah, stopping it.
Stopping it dead, right in its tracks. Pardon the pun. No, this is just wrong. This is wrong. Work on the line you have, improve that, improve service, improve the comfort of the ridership, improve the times which you are. If you need to upgrade your trains, do that. If you need to find new ways to raise revenue, do that without a fare hike. So you're going to come in with a fare hike and expansion at the same time? That's unconscionable. And from a person who's worked in government for a number of years, somebody who's represented this town in the area for working on 8 years now, I am aggravated, I'm angry, and this is not the way government should run. And I've looked at it from every different level, try to be as in the way I comport myself. Try to be polite. Try to be thoughtful. And the more I think of this, the more I just see how bad it is for the area, bad it is for these neighborhoods, for these homeowners, but how bad it is for the Commonwealth. And that being said, stop it right now.
Would you be in support of a reform plan, one that didn't cost as much, didn't have so much of a fiscal loss, and one that didn't go through so many communities?
No, not at this point. Not until, in other words, why make your bureaucracy bigger? Stop the South Coast Rail, stop the Arlington project, and definitely stop this one tomorrow. You shouldn't have even gone down this road. It wasn't as if you were enabled in any way, shape, or form by representative government who answers to the people at selectmen's meetings, at community meetings, and through email every day. You know, you are a nameless, faceless agency up in Boston with not a great track record, or right at the transportation building, and admittedly, and I'm not suggesting that it was the executives who are in charge right now, but you own the legacy, now fix the legacy. Look around at the other transportation projects. This one, I can't speak on how many different levels it's wrong. And that being said, why are you going forward? Why are you going forward? Why aren't you fixing what you have? Why aren't you looking back? Why aren't you cleaning up your own fiscal mess first before you look to expand? You know, I mean, we only did Charlie cards. I mean, the Metro in Washington, which is a fantastic system. I mean, when you ride that, you're embarrassed about what you have here in Massachusetts. We're the oldest, the best, with a city on a hill, and once again, we had a T that ran without being forward funded for 100 years. Now we forward fund them 1 penny on the sales tax. Now we're in Springfield, and you're thinking about an expansion for redundant ridership to satisfy a 495 West partnership with, you know, dubious, you know, it's not as if you're connecting jobs to jobs. You're not at this point. You know, like I say, it's a public sector empire creating by quasi-governmental agencies, you know, in consort with a state agency that doesn't have a great track record, and, you know, big dig on. The last 25 years of transportation policy in Massachusetts have been a disaster, and I challenge anybody to prove otherwise.